Not a whole heck of a lot that I would rather be doing than hanging out with a bunch of like-minded people like yourself, wealth builders, some great people in this. Tonight's live stream on the Independent Investor channel is going to be a little bit more celebratory in nature. I have my birthday coming up on Sunday. I will be a whopping 43. I feel like championship. There's no doubt about it. If you don't believe me, you're always welcome to come and hit the gym with me if you think you can hang. That's an open invitation to anybody, certainly. I'm trying to get to that 225 club that Rico Suave Investing's talking about. So I'm there. But just feeling really good. Some channel updates for sure. I'll roll out right up the top. The Facebook group is going to be something that if you have not taken the 4.5 seconds, depending on your social media savvy, to kick over there and ask for permission to join the Facebook group. I have just closed that down as of today. Now, I will be taking the few last stragglers of folks that make their way in that. I'm putting a moratorium on the Facebook group for a couple reasons. I've put some criteria out there for entrance into the Facebook group. We're just providing way too much value to be wasting our time, myself and the administrators who look over that Facebook group, dealing with spam that people come through and they just want to use the Facebook group for something that I did not intend it to be used for. To hell with that. That ain't going to happen. The good people that are in there, I will work to my nth degree to try to protect the integrity of the group. There is some questions that are very simple. 3 questions that you need to answer. The code word to get into the Facebook group is lightning. So don't tell anybody. Okay. If you're tuning into the live stream, it means that number one, I'm feeling saucy tonight. You got a wrench out of the deal free of charge. That's one of our premium perks that we offer as far as our independentinvestorgroup.com that is going fabulous. It's fabulous. And not to take Kyle's quote, but we probably provide 10 times more value than you'll ever pay for your membership fee, which is more of like it's like a token. It really is. Okay. $30. Had a lot of support in there. We get to rub shoulders with the community on a daily basis, and you guys will get my market pulse when I feel like it's worth putting out there, that of which you could probably benefit tenfold on the very first piece of knowledge anyway. And it's not just me. It's other channel creators that pop in as well. Matt Money specifically, and Kyle as well. Help me a lot when they've got a whim of genius. Bing! They'll come in there and they'll make sure that that VIP crew is taken care of. And what can I say? I'm super stoked to observe the wealth building that's going on in there. I think Bob Wright sums it up perfectly well this evening. I really do. Almost time for the party. And I really just want to take this moment in reflection. It was kind of funny. I was going back through the Facebook group, and you guys are going to find that I have reorganized and recalibrated the Facebook group in such a way that is topic driven. So if you guys want to go in there and catch some of the posts that Colin puts in there, some of the posts that Raymond puts in there, or Ernest, or myself, you're going to be able to easily differentiate between those different subject matters. If you want to learn about investing and grab some investing knowledge, you can do that. If you want to go in there and grab some investing information, you can do that. Guys, you're all my friends over YouTube, okay? We're all like-minded in that we're all trying to come together from all different walks of life, all over the globe. And I just want to cordially invite you. And I don't get on YouTube and I don't yell and scream, okay? All I can tell you is that you need to make your way into that group, because I'm going to be doing and have already started the house cleaning initiative. Time to throw out the garbage. Okay. And we're going to start focusing on people who really, really want to build wealth, because here's the thing. Building wealth is amazing to me, how much people want to waste their time doing everything in this life that isn't focused on a wealth building strategy. It just never dawns on me. And I built that Facebook group to be kind of a launching pad for information on the Independent Investor channel. I frequent that group every single day. You'll get a kind of a drop point for all of my other social media opportunities, some clarity surrounding what some of those opportunities can mean. And you can sit back and in a one-stop shop group, you can monitor the landscape and make your decision about where you want to take your own personal opportunity. Okay, I'm just one of those folks that expects you to drive. Okay, I expect you to drive your own financial opportunity. And what I'm doing is building a framework in such a manner that can capture the masses over time. We're staring down 25,000 subscribers on the Independent Investor channel. That will be the only time that you'll hear me say that. It's not one of those numbers that I've ever really put a whole heck of a lot of value in. Here's why. I've had the distinct opportunity over the last couple months to sit across from a number of different people. And I don't think that number probably broaches 100. But for those 100 individuals, life-changing. Okay. Now, I've got a lot of humility. I'm not arrogant in any way. But those few people that I have had the opportunity made possible through social media to change their lives, I got just about as much satisfaction out of that as you did. I did. Because what I said from the very beginning is I felt like I had a lot of investing experience, some raw talent for this gig, individual to myself, a lot of really, really good, talented wealth builders in this crew. This man right here just went over a huge, huge milestone. And I don't want to embarrass, but what I will say to Mr. Blaine is this. Mr. Blaine is just one of those examples of people that I have come across in my 3.5 years of social media journey that mean the most to me. Okay? Now, I don't mean to get all sappy on y'all, but this is the truth. Okay? I'm always one of those fellas that is driving toward impact. Impact. I'm not one of those fellas that came onto social media looking to drive to 100, 250, 500,000 subscribers overnight. My goal, my approach, quite frankly, my God-given ability doesn't really allow me or allow the growth on the channel to be conducive to that type of activity. Hell, I've got 500 videos. My viral video is 50,000 views. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I've had a few tidbits of information along the line to really put the YouTube opportunity into perspective for me. And I'll import to you this. If you're a channel creator out there and you've got 500 subscribers or 500,000 subscribers, try to imagine yourself in a room of 500 people and you're the one talking and teaching in front of everybody. What really is the difference? What really separates YouTube from a convention hall that's full of 500 people and you are the keynote speaker? What really is the difference? So that perspective, I would absolutely like to impart to you. There have been times, certainly, that I have lost somewhat of a perspective on that. For that, I do apologize, but I'm only human being too. So I will continue to evolve as a content creator. I will continue to evolve in my friendships with some of these great people that I've met. Almost too many to name. That was part of the reason why I was throwing wrenches at everybody before everybody came on tonight. So congratulations if you picked that up. I'm sending out a ton of requests for administrators for my Facebook group. It's just grown to be a little bit beyond what we can handle with the 10 or so administrators that I have. I'm looking to triple that amount in there. We need good moderators that can just look at the criteria and say, nope, you're out, you're out, you're out. I declined probably 25 invites today. I freaking don't have time. I don't have time for your garbage. I don't. You will get my undivided attention if you are willing to meet me in the middle. And Matt Money's been dropping some sound bites into my WhatsApp group, really helping with that philosophy. I think a lot of people want to throw a Q&A session out there and they want to be provided all the answers without just taking a few seconds, sitting back and asking themselves the question rhetorically of themselves before they shoot it across the brow. Now, this is a non-attributional group here, man. This is a phenomenal group. There is no stupid question, okay? But if you want an honest answer, you're going to get it. You're going to get it, okay? So grow a little bit of tough skin in this gig, okay? You're not going to be able to enter the market with what you think you need in way of armor and succeed. Leave that to us. Leave it to us, okay? We'll arm you up because there's nobody in this community that cares more than me to see you succeed, all right? And I'm one of those funny business applicators that believes that by helping others, that I'll in fact succeed myself. And you guys know who have been around me for quite a long time know that I feel like I'm already there. So here's to the Independent Investor Channel. Cheers. There's only one bar that I've ever been to. It was in Ventura, California, that when you go in and you actually pay for a drink, you just order a drink, they give you a double. It's called the Rudder Room, and it's at the end of Ventura Boulevard. Yeah, that one, Tom Petty style. Okay, it's at the very end. The bar is on the beach. It's lovely. Yeah, it's great. I wouldn't really know what it was like in the daytime because I was always there in the evening, but bars all the way down as far as, geez, I was all the way down to Ensenada for sure, and then all the way up to Alaska on the West Coast. So I'm a visitor here to the East Coast, so I do thank you. But I do want to take a moment to capture. I've got Puerto Rico in the group. I've got tons of folks from the States. I've got Trinidad as well, who's going to come on and represent here in just a second. My good friend, Matt Money, who I'm going to bring in just a couple minutes. But I want to finish in giving some kudos to New Zealand. I want to give some kudos to my European friends. I want to give some friends specifically to Germany, which is my number 2 subscriber right behind the US of A on my podcast, which, holy hell, guys, I'm enjoying the freak out of that. UK, you bet. UK's in the house. So for you guys that catch this after the fact, the time zone thing is different, man. So a lot of folks, they tell me that they put this on like a podcast. They don't need to watch me. I mean, I'm ugly as hell, but they put it on like a podcast and they'll sit there and they'll drink their coffee or their tea, right? Because the time difference. But to my shipmates over in Singapore, I got your back for sure. And last but not least, no doubt about it, probably one of the biggest supporters of the Independent Investor Channel are my friends to the north in Canada. I just couldn't thank you guys enough. I was going back through the Facebook group, man, earlier and just coming across some names. Unfortunately, maybe even some of those names aren't even with us anymore. And that's all I'll say about that. But it's amazing in 3.5 years, the freaking amount of impact that we've been able to make. And I will just close with this. I always leave the definition of success on a channel or on a message up to the people who receive the message. Me as the messenger, I don't get to make that assessment. I'll leave that up to you guys. All right. So with that, guys, we're going to bring Matt on. I'm going to have a drink because that was almost like a eulogy, to be honest with you. And I'm thirsty.
What's going on, Ryan?
just doing my thing. I'm looking forward to this weekend. I know some of these folks in the group are also, hey, just be careful this weekend, okay? I'm not a herd follower, okay? So I typically will stay home when everybody else is going to the beach and crawling over each other, you know?
Yeah.
You got any plans, man? What's going on?
No plans. I'm having somebody over tomorrow, so that should be good. A bit of fun. We actually just had not a hurricane, but an earthquake, not probably 5-10 minutes ago. So that was pretty interesting. I was like,
jeez.
So I have to run to the bathtub? Where am I going to go? But anyway, everything's all good. But I do hear some sirens in the background. So if I do run, it's because there's an aftershock. And
yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's an active fault zone here, which is something I'm not normally used to. But anyway, it's been a good time.
Listen, it's a treat for you to come on. Me and you have become pretty good friends offline. Man. So, you know, I can pick up the phone and yak at you whenever I want to throw something investing at you. But I do just want to thank you for coming on and officially celebrating tonight with me.
Absolutely, man. You're killing it, as always.
I think it's relative, man. I think it's relative. I'm pretty humble. I think we've done a lot to springboard and help a lot of people too. I think, you know, I've always opened this opportunity for people to come up and say hello. Hey, this is what I bring to the table. Right. Because you may hear it different from Dan with Ethos, right? You may hear it different from Dave with Hidden Freedom. And that's great. If my message doesn't resonate with you or your message doesn't, Matt, and there's a new investor that comes on and they're like, man, I don't know about that Matt guy. He's got over $500,000. I'm scared to death. I don't know if I could do that. Yeah. But somebody else relates with that individual, then we as a community are meeting what I consider to be the goal. Yeah. You know?
I would agree. Well, I think one of the best things that you do for sure is you provide different perspectives, right? So while you might have a dividend aspect to your portfolio, you also have that growth and sector aspect to your portfolio. And so you cater to a bunch of different audiences. Not that that's the goal, but I think what you do is you say, hey, if you're doing this or you're doing Y, that's okay. But if you are a long-term investor, you have potentially caution to look for, and so you generally try to play devil's advocate, even though you have what you're doing as your own strategy. At the same time, you're providing folks a different lens as well, and that's one of the best things that I enjoy about watching your channel. So,
well, I appreciate that, and we were talking before we came on tonight about your 4.5-hour live streams when you were first putting it through, man. You didn't think I was going to sell you down the river on a live stream, but what I did say is, what comes across the brow to me when I sit across and I evaluate a channel, I'm always interested to hear from like-minded people who actually like investing, because it's kind of a dorky thing to admit to. I just think more people should be more astute with their finances. Okay, let me just say it blankly. You gotta pay attention, and you got a piece of that from me too, Matt. Right? Because you're very open with why you invest. Right. You know, building up that security. When I think a lot of people just kind of be like, they live day to day, and it's like, I'm just going to quasi go about this thing because you only live once. I can't tell you how many times I hear that, and it drives me up the freaking wall. It doesn't give you an excuse to be an asshole, you know? Yeah. Like, come on. You owe it to yourself, man. You owe it to yourself.
Well, I think it gets really, I think that hits home, but also I think one of the big things that I listen to a decent amount of personal development kind of speeches and stuff like that. So one of them is big, and I've kind of had this in one of the sound bites that I sent to my group as well as yours, is a conversation with Jim Rohn, not personal, but he gave a class back in the 80s, and I still think it holds very true today, because it's about personal development, right? Not anything with respect to technology or investing in the stock market. It's personal development. A lot of that stuff is interpersonal and human nature in sort of regards. And one of the things he said is, you know, the only thing between you and your better future is you. And I think that that's hugely true. I think every day, I think a lot of people, and I had a conversation with somebody about this earlier as well, over Instagram, believe it or not. And I said, you know what, I can change my mood anytime that I want during the day. If I want to look at the markets and I want to, you know, get happy and get in my place of where I guess feel most comfortable, I can just look at the market and kind of understand, okay, what am I doing in my portfolio and managing that aspect of things. But if I want to get real cynical and really upset and hate my life, I'll go on Instagram and be like, why don't I have a Lamborghini yet? Or why didn't I invest in Bitcoin at that dollar, per coin? And anyway, what I was basically trying to get at here specifically is the person that is the biggest enemy in your life is the person that stands across from the mirror from you every morning, whether you're doing it in the morning or at noon or at nighttime. And so the only person that you're in a race with is yourself. And what matters is what makes you happy. And for me, I think we talked a little bit about this earlier before the stream was, I initially got, my job, and I was, spent 4 years trying to get that degree, and then finally was making some pretty decent money, right? And I was putting away 10, 15% because that's what everyone said to do, right? And you and I had talked a bit about that. And now I was, I'd start seeing this other checking account just start kind of climbing up and climbing up and climbing up. And I was like, I got to do something. You know what I mean? It's not just at that point, I'd already bought a Rolex. I was like, what else am I going to buy, right? That's the only thing I really wanted. And, I was able to buy a Rolex by 23 years old. I was like, that's all I really wanted to do, right? And I did that, and I was like, well, I'm not making yacht money, so I got to do something. And I recognize that, dividend investing with the kind of line of work that I was in made the most sense to me. Guaranteed dividend income. I mean, who doesn't love that? So that's where I started getting down that path. And of course, the strategies evolved over time. But I think what it was and what it came down to was wanting to ensure that I made not only a better future for myself, but for potentially my kids in the future or whoever comes after me, giving them an opportunity to get a better stepping stone in the right direction. So.
And you'll have that too. You're building such a strong foundation for your future, man. It's impressive. Sometimes I just take a spectator's perspective on this community. No more than my good friend Jason, who I've got here, right? So my shout out, and specifically, I was going back through 3.5 years of Facebook group feeds, and I came across one of Jason's very first portfolio reviews, $21,000. And he was doing that funny look on his thumbnail. Remember that old thumbnail? I was like, but it's too much for me to name on a celebration video like this. Some of these relationships that I've met, and Jason's definitely one of them. But man, for a young investor that resonates with his message, good grief, to look at it and say, because Jason, I remember our first conversation that we had behind the scenes before our very first collaboration. And he said, Ryan, I haven't been doing this very long. But he said, I've just immersed myself in the business. And you know what that taught me, Matt? It taught me that somebody can go from a non-investor to an investor. Jay's my age, and I don't mean to embarrass him, okay? But he's my age, all right? And it's never too late. And that's why I think it's really cool to have a wide-ranging spectrum from all different demographic and all different age groups, because where Kyle can get the group fired up on one end of the spectrum, and Jason, I was in his live stream on Wednesday, and it's like he's missing a disco ball, but that's about it, because it's a freaking party, man.
It's a party, man.
He's garnering attention to the market. And, the only thing I would say is hopefully that gives people an introduction to the power of the stock market. It's powerful. It can render profit. Where I see people go awry is they can't handle the power of the market. And sometimes they expect those higher than average results. And it's like 7 to 10%, man, that's for the birds. No, it's not actually. That's for the astute investor. Every book you'll ever read about investing, you'll glean that same root of what you should do in the market, But I'm just glad to be helping to be about an ambassador for the stock market for these younger people that are coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, I mean, coming from my sort of background, I mean, my family mostly did real estate in the past, and I think you and I had talked about that. But I was told that the stock market was the devil. You know what I mean? Like if you ever watched Waterboy, the movie with Adam Sandler, I'm surprised it didn't show up and be like, stock market is the devil. And I just, I changed my tune. I did my own research and did my due diligence, and I was like, you know what? I mean, there's some really smart people, not just family members that, of course, real estate is a great opportunity as well, but I just resonated with the stock market, just, working a 9 to 5 and sometimes longer, 60-hour weeks sometimes, and it doesn't allow you to sometimes go out on the weekend and do the minor upkeep of a house. But anyway, I did think you hit the nail right on the head there. The stock market is a beautiful place because it can be for anybody with any sort of strategy that they want. But I think what people don't recognize and do them on their own, and I don't want to preach too much because I say this all the time, but I feel like they don't find their right strategy. And I think you're right. They say 7 to 10% is for the birds. But not only that, I think you hit the nail on the head. They say, I can master the stock market without putting in any effort. And I think that's where the majority of the pain that I get to is, right? I mean, you have people that do this on a day-to-day basis and they still can't, get 20% year-over-year returns. But you think with your 30 minutes every week or, 10 minutes every week that you can somehow be the next Warren Buffett when he's been doing it, 70, 75, maybe even you can say 80 years is beyond me. But that's my 2 cents.
I think therein lies part of the problem, I think, is everybody is trying to be like Warren Buffett. It's starting to piss me off, to be honest with you, because my whole message is advocating for being the best Matt Money you can possibly freaking be.
Right.
What does Warren Buffett have to do with your program? What does it have to do with my program? I don't Look, there's some cats in this group right here that people who do not have the investing opportunity from abroad, from around the world, that catch my live stream and they say, God, man, guys, I really wish I could have that freaking opportunity. And here we are trying to be something that we're not. Look, I'm a fan of Warren Buffett, man. I'm a fan of old school Warren Buffett, because in the trenches, there was nobody like him at all. And that, if you study the young Warren Buffett, because Berkshire is made up of a lot of different employees right now that are scouring over balance sheets, probably better than Warren himself. He would say that. Okay, the game has really changed significantly, but I just really think that the power of technology and how it's evolved over time, and the availability of information right there at your fingertips. Look, if you're too lazy to go seek that out, I don't have a whole lot of time, nor do I have a whole lot of sympathy, because I will tell you, there is a dark side to the market. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's the devil, but we've had, look, Robinhood's being sued right now. They've got an SEC suit for $10 million. Okay. And I think they should pay. I think Robinhood, I've chalked it up, and I know I get crap every single time I mention it, but it's robbing from the poor and giving to the rich. Okay. It's really cute, a play on words, but I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. You're paying higher than average prices. And I ask the very simple question in one word: why? Why is it when you can go with a major brokerage house, would you opt for a second tier broker? Now, I don't put M1 Finance in the second tier category, but I do put it in the discount broker category.
Yeah.
You can buy stock once a day. You don't have to put up with that garbage with Fidelity. And you know how big of an advocate of M1 Finance I am. It's a beautiful wealth building tool. I use it myself.
But that's what Dessus said. It's a tool, right? Tools work for some people. Tools won't work for others, right? I agree 100%.
Sure. I just, the availability right now, at 43 years old, looking back, I always try to look at the 23-year-old investor that may come into my channel and be like, what's Ryan going to say tonight? Well, what I'm doing is I'm putting myself in that place. If I was 23, what could I impart to that person now to understand that even with M1 Finance and even with Robinhood, I used to pay $50 a trade. 50. All right. Yeah. Chew on that for a bit, man. I can remember when cell phones didn't exist. I run my entire business through this little beast. This thing is fabulous. I ran into a little bit of struggle today calibrating my iWatch. But my iWatch, man, holy smokes, I can be mobile and take care of crap on my watch, dude. I used to watch James Bond and think, man, that'll never be possible. Well, it's freaking possible, man. Wake up.
But yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man.
I remember having car phones, and I thought that was cool as hell when my parents had one.
Yeah. Yeah. But, hey, times have changed. The thing about it is, man, and let me be real, life is good. Life is good. And you talk about those kids and stuff down the line for you. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And your life will change for the better, man. You'll do that whole, stepping up the ladder thing in a lot of different ways. Because let's be real, Matt. I mean, you got the financial thing licked. All you really got to do is put this thing on autopilot, and your success, man. I'm not going to try to offend you here. I'm going to tell you my honest opinion, because you don't come here to hear me blah blah blow smoke up your ass. I don't do that. I think your success will be rendered because of your mental approach, not necessarily because of the dollars and cents and how you manipulate those dollars and cents in your assets bucket. It'll be because of what's between your head. And I think that transcends. I really do. I think a lot of people, if they would just kind of wake up to that fact and stop tuning into YouTube and thinking that they have to follow the freaking crowd everywhere. Yeah. I see ARK ETF comments come through my channel now, and it's just like, oh my God, not again. I took so much abuse after that. And I'm like, I had to rewatch the video again. And I was like, yep, that's true. Yep, that's true. Yep, that's true. And about 1 out of every 10 comments come through, and they're like, damn, Ryan, that was eye-opening. Thanks for offering. And I'm like, it's a freaking YouTube video. Hell, right. I might flip the script and invest in them. I don't know, but give a guy a break, It's not the 100%. End of the world, but it's like I wronged him in another life, Matt,
Yeah, no, I think I appreciate the comments, and I agree with you. I think a lot of it isn't necessarily the amount that you make, but the percentage and thinking differently to where you are, right? You can't be the same person you are before you start investing, and then start investing and expect to be the same person and try to become well off or change who you are, right? During that step where you invest your first dollar, you have to change who you are as a person. You have to either be more financially novice or just, do some minor steps like thinking about some of the things that you and I talk about. But I think a lot of times people just assume they can just hop right in both feet. I did it. And, I don't want to say it set me back 2 years, but I mean, of course, I didn't necessarily have the tools and the, I guess, education that I do now, and also the knowledge through reading and stuff like that. But it took quite a bit of time to be able to understand what a good long-term sort of strategy was. And of course, that strategy evolves. But I think what a lot of folks do is they just jump in both feet and expect to be a millionaire within a day, but they haven't even changed their mindset. And yeah, they could get lucky, some of them. But I think a lot of them, a really good quote, again, by the same person, from Jim Rohn. He basically said, if somebody hands you $1 million today, best you become a millionaire quickly. And I said that in another soundbite that I kind of gave to you and my group as well. Yeah. But it's basically saying is, if you don't become a millionaire in your mind, you're going to lose all that money within probably days or even weeks or maybe even months if you're lucky. But if you invest it correctly and you have the right mindset, then of course you'll be a lot more successful. If somebody were to hand you $1 million, you might turn it into $2 million, $3 million over the long run. But anyway,
I think you hit on something really important. I think my delusions kind of got me on the wrong track many, many times when I started. And I went down the penny stock. I lost $3,000, and okay, I could handle that. But to sit across from my new wife and say, hey, yeah, about that, about that, all that bragging I was doing about not ever having to work again because I was going to trade stock. You know what I mean? Look at this comment from Bob. He says, art gains, they may be worth his disagree. It's not really about disagreeing or agreeing, honestly. I look at it more of as an awareness piece. There's no denying what she's doing is phenomenal. Okay, it's phenomenal. She's doing what it is that I've been preaching for 3.5 years and longer beyond social media that money managers can't do. Okay, so in that regard, she's proving me wrong. What I will say is this. What's been done has been done. It's done. Okay, if you're investing today in ARK ETFs, you're investing for today going forward, not backwards. Okay. You don't get to look at those 100% gains in the past and say, this is going to continue. Could it provide you somewhat of a trend or an idea? Now, if it makes sense in your portfolio, great. What I fear is that people are going whole hog and putting their entire portfolio into ARK ETFs, right? So use some freaking scale. If you came to me and said, Ryan, I disagree with you, but I've got about 5 to 10%, maybe even 15 to get this aggressive because I like the sector that she's looking at. I like this disruptive tech that she's looking at. Does this make sense? I'll be like, of course it makes sense for you, right? But I think we need to get away from this like right and wrong philosophy in the stock market because there really isn't any right and there really isn't any wrong either.
Right.
It's just a healthy discussion. That's all it is.
Yeah, and I think you and I talk a good bit about that. And I bug the crap out of my group all the time because they'll say, oh, I need to buy Apple here or I need to buy Tesla here up until about 2 weeks ago. And it's like, well, are you holding it for 10 years or are you holding it for the next 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
Jesus.
Because without that sort of perspective that you're talking about, it's hard for somebody that is maybe new to investing or that you're having a conversation with to understand why you're making a comment like that. Me knowing how you invest, Kyle knowing how I invest.
Yeah.
When me and him have a discussion, we understand each other's perspective and why we might be saying a certain thing and why I'm not entering into Apple at these sorts of levels here. And why I'm investing in, say, a QQQ instead of, say, individually investing into an Apple or a Tesla here. And so it's just
hold on now. Apple and Tesla. Hold on a sec, man.
Yeah.
They were just at all-time highs last week. Okay. I've never seen so much on YouTube on how excited and euphoric everybody was on buying the stock. Now, taking that same rationale, where the hell are those people right now? Apple's now come back to 32 just after 2 days. Okay. So if you were excited at 38, why are you not excited at 32?
Right.
Why? This is the reverse thinking that you got to get, Matt. I'm so sick and tired of this blah, blah, all the time mentality. And everybody wants to just follow a crowd. And it's comfortable. It's comfortable to buy the market here. That's why I came on to tonight's live stream. And we're going to celebrate a little bit. I'm going to celebrate with my boy, Matt Money. I'm going to throw some comments up on the grid. But as far as like putting the foot on the accelerator on the stock market, look, if you're investing your first 1,000, I think there's pockets of value. That's why I angled the stock picks for September centered around value. There's stuff there. IBM's at 12, 13. They're a money-making juggernaut. All right.
Cash flow machine, brother.
Sure. Altria screaming. Altria screaming. So I'm not sure what else you want. If you can't have a perspective to sit back and hear somebody out and say, man, I don't know, this is interesting. I think every single one of those, Lockheed Martin right here, 16 times.
I didn't know that. Maybe
I was kind of thinking tonight. I was like, why didn't Matt have, but there are pockets. And here's the thing. If you're putting your first $1,000 to work in the market, does it really matter? Like if you're sitting back and you're like, damn, I'm catching these two guys. I want to learn more about these guys. They're pretty solid on their program. Yes, we are. Welcome. Congratulations is what I'll say. I would have killed for this information. Right. I really would have. You're sitting across from a couple investors. Matt, you've been doing it your whole life, but I've been doing it my whole life. Yeah. And I've been around the block a few times, turning 43 in a couple days. To be able to talk to the younger generation like this is invaluable. You can't put a price on it. That's why our investor group is kind of funny when you talk about a $30 entry. And there's a few people that are trickling through that check and balance. And they're like, you know what? I'm here. I'd like to learn. I'd like to see where this opportunity can take me. And then they find out within a couple days, they're like, okay, I get it. I get it. I need to be more engaged with my program to succeed.
Right.
Yep. So I don't know.
Agreed. That's 100%.
So can you buy the stock market at any time, Matt? It's like, and I've got people coming to me now that like, well, I've been holding out this whole time. Like, okay, well, had you talked to me in March, I would have been like, yep, time to put the foot on the metal right now. But right now, I don't know. I'm just paying attention to what the market's giving me right now. And anybody who's followed me in the group knows that I'm taking a little profit off the table. Any position that I don't feel 100% confident taking into a downturn, I take it off the table. I'm okay with that. Now, my dividend philosophy stays the same. My passive program stays the same.
Agreed.
But that's just how I'm playing it. And that just speaks to another reason why I have these multiple buckets, because in March, people don't know if they paid attention. I doubled up that sector portfolio I have. I just doubled it up. Boom, $2,500. And I'm in a position to do so. That's the key lesson. Okay, well, what if growth comes up? Well, I'll just hold. I'm good. I have options. What if the dividend portfolio rolls off? I'm fine. I have the dividend income where I want it. I'm happy. So you can look at those things, be aware that they're there, because if we do enter into a 20% correction, if the election kicks up a little bit of volatility, which I do expect that it to do, I do. I don't see how it cannot. Let's just put it that way.
Well,
okay.
Fingers crossed.
I know. Well, every school of thought says you don't invest around elections. It's absurd. It's stupid. Okay. You shouldn't really invest around. I mean, we've been through recession, Bay of Pigs, two world wars, the Cuban Missile Crisis. I mean, we've been through a lot, and this pandemic will pass too. And so I just think people need to understand investing out of fear has never, ever been a way to approach the market. That's just my thought.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I think I guess I have an interesting philosophy where if I see value, I jump at it. And I think you and I talked a good bit about this. It's like, well, if I see an alternate group trading at 10, 11 times, I'm going to throw a good chunk of cash at it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it is higher, maybe it's lower. I haven't really checked in a couple of weeks, but regardless, I was picking it up at the low 40s and high 30s, and I was happy with that because I knew the cash flow potential of that organization. And the other stuff, like the total stock market and the QQQ, I was just like, you know what? I got extra money. It's just going to go in dollar cost average. I'm not going to go out of my way to drain the savings account to throw money at that when I don't feel comfortable, right?
Listen to what this man is talking about. He's got $500,000 in the bank, and he's talking about scaling into the market.
On a weekly basis.
How come the rules apply to you and they don't apply to everybody else, Matt? The answer is they apply to everyone. I couldn't tell you how happy I was. That's why I had to call you and be like, did you say that last week on your live stream? Did you actually say that? And I was like, that's so smart, because now you've got multiple assets bucket. And a lot of people look at it and say, well, if you have a blend of stock and market indexed funds or ETFs, you're going to underperform the market, blah, blah. I do not see how people fail to see the importance of both strategies. If you have a problem with the underperformance that you're foreseeing or forecasting over that portfolio, then separate them. Look at them separate. Because the dividend portfolio may underperform. I don't care. I'm lowering my cost basis. There's no metric that shows how powerful that is. That over the course of a couple decades, I'll almost own these stocks outright off of house money. Freak.
100%.
Come on. But the passive investing game, right? You're basically guaranteeing yourself that you're matching the market. And I think we don't talk about that enough, Matt. I think outperformance gets way too much domination over the conversation, and we don't talk about the importance of having X number of capital. It's mathematics, okay? Just stop mixing them. But whatever capital you have that's allocated to your passive program, just know that you've almost guaranteed that money is going to match the market. That's a powerful thing.
That is powerful. Because at that point, as long as you believe in the U.S. economy and the great stuff that's going on, whether it's coming from Apple or whether it's coming from Altria Group or whether we're selling chips from PepsiCo or whether we're making trash bags from Clorox, making Glad brands there. I mean, you're getting that benefit, right? And it doesn't necessarily matter, right? I mean, as long as you believe in the U.S. economy, and I had this in a soundbite earlier today and yesterday and the day before, but it's like and Warren Buffett says this all the time, so it's not anything new, but just the principles that the United States was kind of built on, and the use of capitalism to make sure that everybody has equality with respect to being able to do whatever they want. Just the economics that have been set up within this country, or I guess the U.S. I can't say this country because I'm not even there, but just the U.S. is just absolutely phenomenal, and it's worked for 250 years. It'll probably work for a lot longer. So
if you're going to invest, you have to be an optimist. You have to. Okay. Furthermore, if you're looking to invest, as an investor, you are in fact an owner. Okay. You're an owner. And anytime you're an owner of a stock or a business or a piece of real estate, it's the owners that get ahead. It's the owners, not the borrowers. Okay. You want to talk about the bond game? I've kind of changed my school of thought. I've done a lot of self-study on this, man. Intriguing revelations on bond investing, and maybe that being not in anybody's best interest at any time in their life. I'll just say it. Okay. Now there's different schools of thought on this about the importance of wealth preserving later on in life, etc. But here's the thing. If you look at the track record and the consistency rate of a company like an IBM, okay, or a Johnson & Johnson or a Pepsi, what is actually more crazy? To invest in companies like that, where you can better predict the outcome, or become a borrower and basically seal your fate to just outpace inflation for the remainder of your years that you have on this earth? I don't know, man. What's more crazy? You know, I think if you look at it in the short term, you would say, well, what if the stock market goes down? Okay, yeah, I get it. The stocks are more volatile. But does it matter if somebody's in their 50s and they're looking to safeguard money and they're looking to live until they're 70, 80 years old? Does it make sense for that 30 years to put their money kind of to sleep or on moratorium just to keep pace with inflation? I don't know. It's a rhetorical question I'll throw out there to the group, because it is really a school of thought that the 60-40 portfolio really is the tried and true, get it done over time portfolio. Little less when you're younger, and then transition to the bond portfolio later on in life. But I tend to challenge that. I won't be in that camp. I really won't. My approach is a little bit different, Matt. I would rather own a Duke Energy or a Southern Company instead of owning bonds. I mean, right now Duke's around 6. I've got Altria in the same. Altria is up north of 7%, I believe. It's not even 7 freaking percent. And then you look at ExxonMobil right here.
It's like 8.5, I think.
Sub 40 is just stupid, man. Just so undervalued. It's not even funny, man. I'm just kind of like, am I not seeing something?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, AT&T, same idea.
But yeah, I think I saw something funny. Was it on CNBC? And I almost turned it off. Like, I was just like, am I really watching this right now? And they were talking about, is AT&T going to cut the dividend? And I'm like, is anybody else looking at the cash flow statement besides me? Or, you know, because I'm like, I forget what it was, but I'm going to get the numbers completely wrong. But just the cash flow numbers coming from specifically AT&T and the free cash and the dividend, I'm like, these guys are nowhere near anywhere in trouble cutting the dividend. Do they have over, they have over 100 billion or 200 billion in debt or whatever it is? Of course, right? I mean, it's a very capital intensive business. But at the same time, the margins that they're making, as well as the amount of cash flow that they're making, they can pay all the interest that they want on that. They still got plenty of free cash to pay the dividend. And I think people are always so caught up on what's the earnings. But you have to look at the cash flow.
Yep.
People will be like looking at Altria Group saying, when are they going to cut the dividend? They're not going to cut the dividend anytime soon. Look at the cash flow statement. People are always worried about what's the earnings. Earnings can be manipulated by so many different things. They can be manipulated by one-off tax items, depreciation.
Yeah, I know. You and Gen X are the only ones that talk about it. You and Gen X are probably the only one with the smarts to actually talk about it, to be honest with you. Everybody else is just focusing on places that they don't need to focus on, you know. But hey, go buy Tesla. I don't know what to say. I know Gifts in the I know Gifts in the group. I like his Tesla, man. It's a cool car, but I don't know, man. Where's it going to go from here? We'll be interested. If Apple cruises down below the 90s, which is where I've got it, then I'll be a buyer again, and I'm happy.
I agree.
Right,
I would agree.
you know, not right here. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'd rather double up on my position at IBM, and that's exactly what I did.
And IBM, they're what are they down? I mean, they're probably at a 4.5% yield at this point. I mean, I don't even remember, but
yeah, I think it's in between 4 and 5. I believe last time it's close to 5, which is really hard to get that level of see, their hybrid cloud is what you're investing in. That the acquisition of Red Hat is really good, but they're a money making juggernaut. Their old school business actually just makes them like sleepy money, man. It's contractual revenue that they're making. It's equipment that sits there and freaking makes money. I'm in. It's like a regulated utility. But it is. You know, I'm down. I would rather take the chance here. I know historically I'm probably looking at a range, an unfortunate range that is kind of drawn back. IBM has been a real bummer over the last 5 years. It really has. You know, it's 170-ish. It was its high. And then I believe it got down into the low 1-teens. But right here in the low 120s, they just came off of a very good quarter. And if you paid attention, now things are starting to work. The catalyst, the merger, the cash flow is always going to be there. That's fine. And then the dividend to boot. Jesus Christ, I could just sit on the stock and just be freaking happy. Go on 100%. With my day. I don't sit there and stare at it all day. It's easy.
100%.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal company. I don't even know how many shares I have. I wish I had more, to be honest. But yeah, it's a pretty good one. I have a couple shares, but not enough to write home about. Might be an opportunity.
I need to sit back through a portfolio review of yours, Matt, to be honest with you, because I say this a lot. I say it to Jason and Gen X and yourself and everybody else in here that are channel creators. I'm not really that I'm interested in you guys as people. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if I thought you were an asshole, you wouldn't get my time.
Right.
I'm not going to bother. I don't want to waste my time that way, but I just think there's a lot of really, really freaking good people here. Yeah. Like Bob Wright. He's a good dude. Yeah. And even though he disagrees with me, how dare he on a live stream? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But anyway,
you yell at me afterwards, but not
yeah, I know, right? I know he's all timid now. He's like, dang, man, a bastard.
Yeah, but anyway, no. I do appreciate you having me on as always.
It's fun.
Best stream on Friday night, man, and the amount of times that I watch you and learn more every single time, or have the same idea but hear it in a different perspective, and it really drives it home. Yeah. It's literally priceless information, and if people are getting as much information out of it as I am, then
I think they are. I hope they are.
It's classy and priceless material that you got, man. So
I hope they are.
Keep it up, and I'll check you soon.
All right, buddy. I'll check you on your stream here, man. Give me a couple minutes when you can, Kyle, shoot it off, man.
All right, I'll talk to you.
All right, brother. Later.
All right, later.
So Matt mentioned something there right on the end about the stream. You know what's funny about, I just recently went back and I checked Livestream number 1. And you know what's funny about that is I think there's so much more value now in how we've evolved this product and how we've cleaned it up a little bit. Yeah, we've went from the 2 to 60 minutes from the 2 hour. And I've got a few people that are like, hey, Ryan, I'd really like to see the 2 hour. Me too. But I'm not going to do something now so premature in the evolution of the independent investor channel. There's some perspective for you. How many people can do YouTube for 3.5 years and call their project premature? I do. Because I foresee doing this channel the rest of my life, no doubt about it. I think we'll roll out this product. We'll continue to reach people. I'll continue. I got a solicitation from somebody that I hadn't talked to in damn 15 years. And they were like, hey, Ryan, if you have some time, I know how busy you are. And I was like, come on, that's what everybody says, man. I'm not that busy. I'm never too busy to make time if you're willing to make time as well. Jump on the Zoom, square them away. It's all good, right? But I just think it's fun to watch this project evolve the way that it has. And that was kind of the theme tonight is a little bit more celebration. I wish I could have shot out everybody, man. The few that I've, grown close to and been able to watch, those guys, they're my featured channels for a reason. Rebecca Waters' Quest to Fire are my they're my featured channels with Matt Money and J Mac Investing as well. I just think there's an element of real sincerity when I catch their message. That's just my feeling on it, and I'm a pretty good judge of character. And I'll go out on a limb and I'll go out on a bat for these guys for sure, because they're ambassadors as well of the message. The investing game is that important, and ethos investing as well. I see in the group. I didn't really have a chance to scour over the comments. I wish I could have got to some of you guys, because I see a lot of old school folks in here, and I've got a list of old school folks right here that I've got to send administrative invites to. If you think you're one of those old school folks like K97, who I see in the thread here, it's been with me for years, man. Those are the types of relationships that kind of hit me as I was going through the Facebook group tonight. Kind of hit me, how many people have come and maybe gone on the channel, or maybe have come back to the channel. I've went back and saw some of those comments from 2018 when I first established the group, and really hit home with me. It really did. We're doing our job. We're reaching people. And when you're reaching people, when you first start, it's one or two or three people. Now the project has scaled up to where it's much more dynamic, in that I was completely against providing some of the opportunities for people, and they're gone, because I see the impact and the demands that certain people have and are willing to pay for. They're willing to pay for. And I would be willing to sit across from me and pay for that service. Like I said, it was like a token of a little bit of contribution to help me support. And I've put thousands of dollars into this channel. And so it never hurts when I got to that kind of sweet spot where I thought maybe we could leverage a little bit and at least provide that opportunity. Now, I don't have hundreds of people in my WhatsApp group. I have like 15. And it is so enjoyable to get to know those folks on a little bit more of a personal basis, understand where they're coming from, what their needs are, what they're after, how they can become a better investor, and to have that opportunity all the time. Remember, financial planners, you're going to get one meeting a year, one, and that's supposed to provide you that support network that's supposed to save you in all market conditions. I beg to differ. I just think there's a different philosophy and a different way of approaching the stock market. And you can really use the power of social media to provide you that structure and framework and support. If you do feel like maybe you're going down a path that you're not comfortable with, you can hit somebody up and say, hey, what do you think about this? It's a beautiful opportunity for sure. So just in closing, guys, I couldn't get to everybody, man. Ryan Giffen's been on the channel many, many times. A lot of love for sure. A lot of love to everybody in here in the channel. Jerry's one of those folks that's going to get one of those invites for an administrator. For these channel creators here, I'm thinking about doing something special into offering them a corner of the Facebook group as well, and putting their videos that they're sharing within the Facebook group in their own topic. And I think that'll really help organize the group as well and get these folks, because people will go in there and they'll gravitate toward different pieces of content. So I want to make sure that the avenue to that content is as unobstructed as we can make it. Building that structure, building that framework to accommodate a lot more people. So get over to the Facebook group, please. I want to remind everybody that if there's anything that you do free of charge, please kick over there. Use the VIP code, entry code of Lightning. It's not bourbon. It's not empowerment. It is lightning. Okay. Remember AC/DC. Okay. Remember lightning. Lightning. Okay. Send us a request. We'll get you into the admin group. Answer the 3 questions. Agree to the terms of the group, which basically means you're not going to spam the group. Very simple. That's all you got to do. You just got to behave yourself. That's all. But we'd like to have each and every one of you guys that haven't kicked over and taken advantage of the opportunity. So I'd like to thank everybody for making their way. A little more celebration tonight as we march toward the 25,000 subscriber mark. Hell, I don't know. Maybe I'll put out a highly on video tomorrow and just jam it across the finish line and get there. I don't know. We'll see. Whatever. It's kind of cheating a little bit. I'd like to do it a little more organic, right, J-Mac? J-Mac's got to give me permission to do it. He's got to tell me it's okay. If he tells me it's okay, maybe I'll do the last highly on video and tell everybody where I'm going to sell my stock at. We'll see. I saw a few comments on that tonight, but be safe this weekend, guys, for sure. Happy Labor Day to all you guys. We'll catch you next Friday on the Independent Investor Channel live stream. Take care, everybody. We'll check you next week. Cheers.